Okay, my name is Sean Collins, and I'm going to do a topic on effect of giant Sylvania on waterways and how humans have assisted in the pollution and the transportation and the infestation of this aquatic vine. Giant Sylvania, its proper name is Sylvania molesta, is an aquatic fern that is native to southern Brazil, which floats on water that damages the natural aquatic vegetation and ecosystems it habitats. Giant Sylvania forms large mats by a change of leaves that it produces, so it can cover a wide area pretty quick. I'm about to get more into that also. It prefers warm, slow-moving waters or stagnant water. So lakes, ponds, and gentle, slow-moving creeks or creeks make it a prime habitat for this invasive vine, or this invasive fern, to occupy. It naturally populates over waterways by flooding into streams or rivers, or if there's a giant flood and a pond is in the area that is infested with the fern, that it will transplant to another pond or something that doesn't have it. It can double its size in 2 to 10 days, and its root system can go up to 2 feet in length underwater. Giant Sylvania was brought to America possibly by the aquatic trade for, such ferns for water gardens, fish tanks, private ponds, and the fish trade. No one really knows how it really got here though, and how it got released into the ecosystem. It just happened, and it just popped out of nowhere back in 1998. That's whenever it became a real problem. Giant Sylvania's large mats are very harmful to the ecosystem due to the fact that whenever it starts growing these large mats, like I said, they can double its size in 2 to 10 days, which with that 2-foot root system can actually disturb a lot of natural vegetation and the aquatic life underneath by making it a hard place for the marine life to move around, travel, and they get caught up in it, they'll be stuck in an area. It takes over everything. Whenever it starts growing, it floods everything, it takes over everything, nothing grows underneath it, and it just kills all the natural vegetation as well by not allowing the sun to get down into the water to help photosynthesis and all that other stuff, to let the other plants grow and produce oxygen to the water, which keeps native fish species alive and which keeps native fish species alive and keeps them in an area so they don't transplant someplace else. And whenever it starts taking over the water, it's a big, large green mat. If it gets stuck in a cove in a lake, you have no access to that cove no more, for it's too thick. You really can't get into there by an airboat. The only way you can really get in there is by an airboat, and you can't get in there by other means such as a powered outboard motor or a trolling motor, because it's too thick and you can't get through it. And it's visually unappealing. If you own a dock by a lake and you go outside, you bought property by a lake, you didn't buy property on a grassland, and that's pretty much what it looks like. And with it depriving the oxygen in the water as well, it's also increasing the pH levels due to the fact that the natural aquatic vegetation underneath the water is not receiving its sunlight, so therefore it is decomposing and decaying, which is increasing the pH levels inside of the water, which is also making the water more alkaline and pushing the fish and native species out. And if they can't get out of that area, if it takes over a pond, they will just naturally die due to the low oxygen levels and too low of a pH level. There's multiple solutions to deal with this, and a lot of them are being implemented right now. Some of them come with chemical spraying, reservoir drainage, weed booms, which I'll get into, biological treatment, and manual removal. All these ways are effective. It just depends on which one's best suits the way that needs to be done and how bad the infestation is. or if you're trying to control the infestation or prevent the infestation from coming into your area. The first is chemical spraying. The pros about it, it's very effective in controlling and eliminating Salvinia. And if it's mixed properly with other chemicals, it can also take care of other invasive species, such as hydrilla and milfoil and all the other, not really much of a problem to us fishermen, but to other people, sometimes hydrilla will take over a pond and completely destroy a lake because you can't fish it and it gets too thick. The cons of using chemicals, though, is it's a chemical. So it can affect the pH levels in the water. It can contaminate the water if it's a water source that you drink out of. It could possibly add such as fluorides, coppers, and all the other stuff to it, which would affect the water. And also back to the whole vegetation it can kill. That's another problem. If you don't mix it correctly and you want certain species of aquatic vegetation to stay alive, it will kill it, or it can kill it. So it's a toss-up. Plus, it's very costly to do this. And another thing is reservoir drainage. The pros, it kills a lot of it. That's about it. The cons is you just completely ruined a water source. Everything that was inside of that reservoir is completely gone, just about, unless there's little ponds or such that hold it. And if that's the case, if there are little ponds that hold, other aquatic vegetation, it's the same as the giant Salvinia. Whenever you go back to reflood the reservoir, the Salvinia was never killed, and it therefore spreads again. So you're back to using chemicals or draining the pond again, if that's what you can do. Another way is weed booms, which is pretty effective, like it is out here at Sam Rayburn. It doesn't completely eliminate the Salvinia, but it prevents any more from coming into the lake. It slows the Salvinia from entering. It prevents it mostly from entering. And whenever it's all compiled in one area, you can also use it with other solutions, such as chemical spraying, or depending on where it's at, you can drain it to get rid of the Salvinia and then scoop it up. Mechanically removal, which is another topic I'm about to get into. You can scoop it up and transplant it and remove it from your area and dispose of it properly. The cons about it, though, is whenever it comes high water season, such as the rainy season, or whenever floods start becoming more persistent, and they happen a lot more, the Salvinia will actually go over the boom, because the boom does not come up with it, or it will come up so much, but it will not go up no more than eventually Salvinia will just run right across the boom. Manual removal is an effective way due to the fact that you're actually removing it from the area. The bad thing about it, though, is you're removing the giant Salvinia, and you're also removing other aquatic species and other aquatic vegetation that you don't want to remove. Depends on what you use pond or reservoir for. If it's just for sites, that's okay, but if you use it as a fishing or privatized entity where you have crawfish or fish in there, some kind of aquatic species, or you waterfowl hunt it, you're damaging the banks as well, and you're also removing those species. There is a biological way right now that is actually being tested, and it's actually working pretty good, but it's still in the process of being tested. It's called Salvinia weevils. It's no chemicals, no mechanical removal, no use of putting booms out that could possibly come loose and pollute the environment some more, and you're not physically destroying the area. All you're doing is getting these little Salvinia weevils and putting them out in the Salvinia patches and the mats, and they control it. They eat the seeds off it, so it can't reproduce, and then they start eating the leaves. So they're very effective. The cons are, though, it's something new, and it's something that had to be brought in from south of Brazil to take care of this problem. So it's a new thing. It proved phenomenal down in Australia and other places where this has been a problem, and they're doing fine with it, but the time is still young right now, so we don't know. So we brought them here to Texas in this area and Louisiana, such as Lake Caddo, and they're doing a good job out there. We just do not know the full-blown effects of them yet. It could be a great thing where that is all they do, and they eat the giant Salvinia, and whenever it's all gone, they decease, or they might transfer to something else and start eating lily pads and all sorts of other aquatic vegetation that's natural here in Texas. The current standards on it, all these methods are effective. It just really depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it and what you can afford. It is currently illegal to own in every single state in the United States. It's illegal to possess, transport, or even manufacture it, planting and growing. The states, usually whenever it comes to a public waterway, they will take care of it by using contractors and private entities that are funded by the state to take care of this problem. But such as the water weevils, the Salvinia weevils, they are used by the state only. But you can purchase them from the state, but you cannot purchase them from anybody else, only the state. And the best way to control it, if you're an outdoorsman, if you go out to the lakes and you take your boats out and go up and down the rivers, the best way to do it is wash, clean, and drain your boat. That is the best effective way to take care of it and make sure your boat's completely dry. And that's one good way to prevent the transportation of giant Sylvania, and that is giant Sylvania and the issue we have out here in Texas. Thank you.